After an exhilarating opening event of the Wawa Cup Series season at New Smyrna, where Blaine Keyes stole the win away in the Meliello Smooth Fest, we now officially begin the season with the first points-paying race here in the Wawa Cup Series 2023 at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. 40 drivers in the field here around this 1.5-mile racetrack to open up a new chapter of NR racing on AG the channel. This is the Wawa 400 here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway in the 2023 Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here and welcome to the Homestead-Miami Speedway for the first race of the points-paying season here in the Wawa Cup Series. Of course, last weekend we got a preview of the 36 full-time drivers in the Meliello Smooth Fest, but tonight we officially begin the points-paying season here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. And of course, the first race is not the Daytona 500 in the Cup Series for the first time ever, but don't worry, that'll be next weekend right here on AG the channel. But first, we open up the season with the Wawa 400, 67 laps of action around this 1.5-mile racetrack in Homestead, Florida. And we're looking at about a 34 to 37 lap fuel run here tonight. And that will make things very interesting, especially if we get an early caution and some drivers decide to come down the pit lane. And I'm joined alongside a guy who knows a lot about that in his series, the Trinity River Cup Series, which I highly recommend you check out, by the way. Josh Williamson, in your race, Florida 500, which ran 2 weeks ago, we saw fuel mileage become an issue. A driver in this race ended up getting the race victory in Eric Monaco. How do you think that may play out here tonight, especially considering that the ratings may have a slight effect on the strategy for those pit crews here tonight in this Wawa 400?
Well, so just for context, the first caution of that Florida 500 came out on lap 4, and then the second one came out on lap 34. And typically, with the way the cycles fell in that race, it was going to be about lap 28 to 32 for the first one, and then about lap, about 56 to about 60. That second one was going to be a little more broad if it had gone green the rest of the way, but the cautions fell just at the right time where fuel definitely became an issue that race. And with this cycle being so close to the halfway point, anything happens, whether early on it might not be an issue, but if you're right before halfway and a caution comes out and everybody comes down the pit road, that is going to make things very antsy by the time we get to the tail end of the 67-lap affair.
It definitely will. And the other big thing here for the Wawa Cup Series 2023 is the ratings. Of course, most of you guys have been adjusting your ratings in the couple of weeks leading up to this event. Of course, you guys have already done your ratings for the Daytona 500 as well, but they are cumulative and they will add on throughout the season. So we start off the season with all these guys pretty much on even playing grounds, but once we get later on in the season, we will start to see certain drivers have an advantage over others. So it's very important that you adjust your ratings every week if you want to run well, or otherwise you may be left in the dust from some of the other faster drivers in the field. But tonight, it is anybody's game in this 40-car field, and you may be wondering, 40-car field? Well, on Wednesday night, we had the Wawa Sprint Series, and 4 lucky drivers advanced on from that to race here tonight in the Wawa Cup Series opening race. Benny Moore in his first ever start grabbed the race victory, and Jim Vincent left in his first ever start advanced on as well, and them 2 long-time drivers in the Cup Series, Sam Oskin and Mr. Trey Bartow, driving the number 4, advanced on Wednesday night, and they joined the 36-car field here for this Wawa 400. Of course, with this being the opening race of the season, there are no points, so we're going to jump right into it and get these guys to roll off here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. And the starting lineup for this race determined randomly in the game. However, one of the ratings aspects you guys can choose every Monday in the Discord server when you fill out that ratings form is qualifying, and that will help determine where these guys start throughout the season. But Chris Reynolds gets the pole position for the first race of the season here in the Wawa 400. He'll be starting alongside Drew Webb in the number 99. Ali Yera in the number 5 to the inside of Tanner Parton in row number 2. Dylan Matthews and Christian Master make up row number 3. Got the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr. and Brady Mardi Gras in the 73, and then one of the Sprint Series drivers, Sam Oskin, to the inside of Travis Crampton there in row number 5. You see the rest of the starting lineup there on the left-hand side of your screen. And Josh, this is a very strong field. Who do you think is going to get the first win of the season here in the Wawa 400 at Homestead?
Well, there's a whole lot of good drivers up there in that top 10, but I'm going to go a couple rows back here. I'm going to pick the 39 of Echo Evans Ross for Hamill Racing Enterprises. She had a fire lit under her at New Smyrna Speedway. I think she's going to be running up towards the front, maybe even in victory circle by the time this one's over and done with.
She finished 3rd last week in New Smyrna, but this ain't New Smyrna. This is the high-speed Homestead-Miami Speedway, and they're coming across the line to begin the season. We're underway in the Wawa Cup Series 2023. Chris Reynolds in the outside wall. Dylan Matthews with the first bonus point of the season as he leads lap 1 here in the Wawa 400. Alliera there in second. She had a good run to the inside, but she's gotten stuck in that outside lane. We saw this Wednesday night. These guys just getting way up in the wall, and Trey Barcher just did so in the back of the field there in the 4. But it's just such a loose racetrack through these corners that if you get way up high and smack that outside wall, you're going to fall back tremendously. But these guys all over the racetrack, a multi-groove racetrack here at Homestead. And I'm a little nervous right now. What do you think, Josh?
Absolutely, I am too. This isn't as wild as the Trinity River Cup race started out, but maybe that's a good thing. I mean, we were going 3 and 4 wide over there on lap 2, but oh goodness, Reynolds hit the wall again. That's about the 3rd time he's gone up and hit that wall.
He's already all the way up the back of the field after starting on the pole for this race. Not at all what Reynolds wanted here in the opening race of the season after starting on that top position. But you see him falling back right there. Dylan Matthews has led every lap so far. A great run for the other Hamill Racing Enterprises driver. But how about Sam Oskin here? Now, this is the interesting thing when it comes to the ratings. Of course, in the Cup Series, the full-time drivers have access to full-time ratings, but the owners do not have, or should I say, the Sprint Series drivers do not have the ability to change their drivers' ratings. However, early on in the season, while everything's still fresh and everyone's still kind of on an even keel, you might see these Sprint Series drivers run well in these Cup Series races, and Sam Oskin just led a lap here in this Wawa 400. Of course, he's a 3-time winner in the old Cup Series back in the day. But he's going to lose the race lead there to the Titan Fury Racing driver of Drew Webb there in the number 99. And here's your pick to win. Echo Evans Ross there, and Braden Perez on this inside lane as well.
Oh, wow.
Brady Mardi Gras up here, and Eric Monaco, who won here a couple weeks ago in your series in the Trinity River Cup Series. Watch out for him in Racing Motorsports and Aaron Abel's team as Oskin is up in the outside wall. Very unique racing so far here in this Wawa 400, but it's a lot like what we saw on Wednesday night with this guy just overshooting the corner, and I think we'll see a lot of that here tonight here in this Wawa 400 at Homestead.
It's definitely possible that we will, but Drew Webb says, guys, keep it up as he leads the way. It is Brady Perez there in the 2nd position for Team Williams. He's trying to bring the KFC Dodge back up to the Fastenal number 99 Dodge as wide back behind. That's the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr. And looks like they clapped it a little bit, just tapped it. I don't even think it skimmed the paint actually, as there's the 95 of Logan Williams. We saw him plenty at New Smyrna, but now Echo Evans Ross is going for the 2nd spot. How about that move?
Yeah, trying to get it on Braden Perez right there, unable to do so. She's going to hold on there to the 3rd position. Brady Mardi Gras there in the 4th position. The development driver to Trey Smith. So Trey Smith obviously knows what he's doing. Trey Smith, a past Turkey Hill National Series champion, and obviously has won the Indianapolis 250 before this last year. So definitely a lot of experience there, and the protege of the 73. How about Matt Tuck? It's been a while since Matt Tuck himself has been behind the wheel. He's driving here for Grattan Autosport, moving up through the field very well as he gets around Eric Monaco. And now he's going to have a shot here on Brady Mardi Gras there for the 4th position. Alliera there. She has one of her drivers in this race. Of course, she owns a team in the Sprint Series exclusively. And that is Sam Oskin there driving that 77. But she is up here, running in the top 6, running 6 as for the race lead. Braden Perez to the inside of Drew Webb for the top position.
And that'll bring Echo Evans-Ross right up into it. Perez to the lead. It's Drew Webb who slips to second. Now Echo Evans-Ross trying to take second away from Webb. It looks like she will have a chance to do so. Perez slides wide up front, and Echo's going to have a really good shot at taking the lead away from that 23 here in the next handful of laps. That is, unless the 73 of Brady Mardi Gras doesn't get the leg up on Echo Evans-Ross first.
And to watch out for Matt Tuck as well. A lot of experience for Matt Tuck here in the number 54. He is a 7-time winner here on the channel and twice in the Cup Series of the past. So definitely no surprise to see him running good. But no surprise to see this guy running well either. Eric Monaco, like I said, got that win a couple weeks ago right here. So he's got that race win, all that experience fresh in his memory. And here he is running top 10 right now in the 41. You got Roberto Crown Jr. there. Rogel Dorn inside the top 10 right now in the number 1 machine. Great run for him right there, and I expect pretty good things out of Rogel Dorn in this team. Definitely saw a lot of strength out of this driver in the Smooth Fest last week, just like Echo Evans-Ross. They were 2 of the stronger guys who were making their first ever starts last weekend. And then Sam and Oskin holding on strong as a Sprint Series driver. Of course, Oskin, a very experienced driver there for Rain Motorsports, but a great run for him right now. Top 10. Just outside the top 10, Trey right there in 11th. Travis Crampton, Logan Williams, Chase Buck, and Christian Master battle right in there. And the Hornets' Nest still back in this field. Nicholas Amadeo, this is a home track for him from the Miami area. And, of course, Nicholas Amadeo, one of the longest-running drivers in the series. And on the channel, I should say, and the 23-time winner. Only Zachary Fitzwater has more wins than he does. And speaking of Fitzwater, where is the number 9 machine?
He just went down the pits a little bit ago. I saw some dust get kicked
with
up.
An issue, and that is not good for the Everbell Motorsports team. Tough break for the old-time winningest driver on the channel of Zachary Fitzwater. Not at all how he wanted to start off his season.
Yeah, and it looks like they're taking an extended look underneath that race car. I saw some dust get kicked up on the apron of 3 and 4, and a couple laps ago looked to see if he was in the pits, and saw somebody was in the pits. It was a red car, and it was unfortunately Fitzy. Tough break for him to start off the season. Here comes Brady Mardi Gras, meanwhile, trying to get the lead from Perez. Perez makes that outside line work beautifully.
And Fitzwater now coming off the pit lane in the number 9. Like I said, not entirely sure what the issue was on that machine, but he's going to go a couple laps down from the extended pit stop. So Perez now out front in the 23 machine here. They're still out front, I should say, for Team Williams. We've had Perez, Sam and Oskin lead a lap, and Dylan Matthews lead a couple laps there.
Oh.
Here comes Mardi Gras trying to get a bonus point towards the championship now. The way the championship format goes, top 10 drivers in points, I should say, at the end of 20 races. That's where the 20 came from. We'll move on to the chase, and then 2 wild cards. Those 2 wild cards are the top 2 drivers outside the top 10 in points who have race victory. So when you get a race win, you're in the wild card standings, but it's not the amount of wins you have that gets you those wild card positions. It's the amount of points you have. So consistency is key throughout the entire season here, and it's going to be fascinating to see, especially with the ratings, who's going to be strong and who's not going to be strong as the season goes along. Of course, we're still early on in the season, and the ratings are pretty much equal for all these guys. There are some minor adjustments between these drivers, as you have done the adjustments throughout the season so far in the first couple of weeks. But as we move on, it's going to really widen out, and there's definitely going to be certain drivers who have advantages over others. But I can't tell you who that's going to be. But right now, the advantage in this race is going to Brady Mardi Gras on the 73. He had a tough race last weekend in the Meliello Smooth Fest. Couldn't make it onto the main event, but definitely coming on strong here for Ryan Durrani Incorporated. Of course, Ryan Durrani, a longtime driver and a longtime owner of the channel. Definitely know that he knows what he's doing behind the owner's title, putting in those ratings for that team. Kind of lost what I was going to say right there. But Mardi Gras doing a great job here as a rookie here to this series. The top 5 include him, Braden Perez, Allier still up here in the top 5. Drew Webb has been running up front very well for Titan Fury Racing. And Rogel Dorn here in the top 5 as well in the number 1.
Ryan Durrani definitely knows how to get race wins as a driver, and he definitely knows how to make fast race cars. He's 5th in the overall owner standings before we get into the Daytona Road Course race in the Trinity River Cup Series. So he is doing wonderful things over there. For context, there are 15 teams in that series this season, and he is 5th overall after the first 2 races. So good stuff from him over there, and good stuff for him over here. His car leading the way, but now Ali Liera, Thanksgiving 500 winner, looking to mount a charge on the 73.
And this track is basically just half of the Coca-Cola Super Speedway, so we should expect Liera to do well here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, but she's going to be passed here by Braden Perez for that second position. Whereas that's Owen Miles, the owner of this team right here, Dracon Racing Enterprises. They know what they're doing as well, but first time owning in the Cup Series on the channel, so we'll have to see how well their team ends up doing. Drew Webb, I'm impressed with Drew Webb. He's been up front pretty much this entire race as he goes 3 wide for the third, or should I say second position. But Drew Webb, not related to Brian Webb, by the way. They are 2 separate people, and we'll have to see how well Drew Webb does once we get to the end of this race. But he's been up front pretty much this entire time. But he got a little loose there on the inside, and Rogel Dorn going to take the second position away there for Full Frontal Motorsports. Of course, this team has a lot of experience in the Cup Series, and one of the returning teams from the old NOF Cup Series and Chick-fil-A Cup Series of the past, and Rogel Dorn here in that second position. But Brady Mardi Gras trying to pull away here in the 73. And we also have to consider that, like I said, that fuel window, 34 to 37 laps coming into this race. We're not too far away from that cycle of pit stops, assuming this race stays green up until that point. So it's going to be fascinating to see how well these drivers can get down the pit lane and what the strategy ends up becoming for a lot of these guys.
We'll definitely have to see as we get closer and closer to that marker. But here we go, 37 down to the inside, 3 wide, Fisher G. And he's going to make it work. Looks like Trinity Ida, I think that's who it is, caught the outside wall a little bit. 43 of Christian Master was in the middle of all that. But now the Jiffy Lube Chevrolet slips up to the outside and to the inside. Here comes the 69 of Elijah Gordon for the Andrews Racing team.
It's getting a little edgy back in there, but thankfully this race has stayed green the entire way through. A nice clean race here to open up the season. And it's going to be fascinating next weekend when we head to Daytona, because for the first time ever in the Daytona 500 and on super speedways, we're going to have pit stops, and that could get really, really interesting. The racing is going to be very different as well because of the ratings. The aggression is not ramped up as it has in the past, so we could easily see a caution-free Daytona 500 next weekend, but it'll be a fun race regardless. And of course, all 40 of these drivers, all 36 of these full-time drivers especially, want to get that Daytona 500 race victory here in the Wawa Cup Series. But they also want to get this race victory here tonight at Homestead in the Wawa 400. They keep on battling for second very well here. Perez and Liera is still battling there, and the tires are starting to wear out for these guys as well. So things are going to really get interesting here in the next few laps.
And speaking of aggression, that was an aggressive move by Braden Perez to get down to the inside of Liera. And now Rogel Dorn trying to march his way back up there. But here comes the 44 of Daniel Paulus Jr. What a move down to the inside. Cuts it down low, and there's Perez going for the lead on Mardi Gras. How about that?
And Braden Perez trying to get something to go his way here. He has 1 career win on the channel, looking to make it 2 here tonight. And he's going to make that one look easy here on lap 25 of 67. Another thing you may notice this season, the races are going to be longer than they have in the past. 25% length instead of 20, so it's still the Wawa 400, still a 400 here at Homestead, but as you can tell, it's a 67-lap race, which was the traditional 500-mile length. We'll have 1 500-mile race on the 1.5 miles, which will be 83 laps at the Texas Motor Speedway in April. They're closing in here on Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzwater came down the pit lane earlier on. This could get very, very interesting here for the race lead, because Fitzwater does appear to be off the pace there in the 9. They got to be careful here.
Oh, my.
And Mardi Gras almost got into him there in the 73. Perez right there going to hang in line to the inside of the 9 as well. And Daniel Paulus Jr. battling very well back in here. How about Sam and Oskin? How about, what if the first points race of the season goes to a sprint driver and Sam and Oskin? That'd be something else, especially the lady in the number 5. She'd love to see that as the owner of this car. So, going to be fascinating to see if that 77 ends up getting to victory lane here tonight. It's very possible. Matt Tuck to the inside of Rogel Dorn. Trying to get
and
around
looks like he's
Fitzwater
going
right
to get
here.
that spot. He's going to get that spot, and now he's going to get down to the inside of the lap traffic of Fitzwater, who now falls 4 laps down. As looks like Drew Webb, I'm sorry, is going to get through. The 95 Logan Williams will follow suit, and they'll all be chasing still the 73 of Brady Mardi Gras, who got back around Braden Perez right before they got around Fitzwater, and thankfully they didn't have to go in there double wide, and it worked out just fine for the front 6 as they pull away from the 54 of Matt Tuck.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how the strategy plays out on the pit lane. Brady Mardi Gras has led the most laps so far in this race. Ho, ho, ho. But you just see, it doesn't take much to lose your momentum through a corner. As you can tell, Daniel Paulus Jr. for Full Frontal Motorsports got right to the inside of Perez and right up the second as Yera to the inside of Chase Buck. First time we're mentioning Chase Buck here for Pacific Racing and Brennan Wilmington here tonight. And Chase Buck definitely a solid driver, no doubt about it. 4-time winner. He's still my dad. Perez there for second now. Going to get back around Paulus Jr. for that position. Mardi Gras continues to hold on to the race lead. Sam and Oskin here as well. It has spread out quite a bit throughout the field, which is good. Hopefully these guys can come down the pit lane cleanly. That's always the big concern. Here's Blaine Keys, who won the Smooth Fest last week. And this is something we'll see. These guys are going to be all over the racetrack, all over the leaderboard these first few races because the ratings are just so close to each other. But I do think once we get to about the 8th, 10th race of the season, we're going to really start to see those ratings come into play. But right now, it's like how it always been. These guys all on each other here in terms of the ratings.
And it's probably going to stay that way even after the pit cycle. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But it is Paulus going back into the second position.
Caution!
Caution! Oh boy, 24.
Joey Hightower in the 24.
Oh man!
My goodness,
that's
this
a
makes
shame.
it interesting. Hightower there for Trackhouse Racing and Reggie Fogelman, teammate to Brad
Right up in
Stover,
turn 3
and that
and 4.
was in turn number 3, turn 4. Race back to the line will be won by Brady Mardi Gras. Right at near the halfway point of this race, they're going to cross the line, lap 33 in the lap 34 on the pit lane.
Ideally,
are we shaping up
they
for
should.
another Florida 500, Josh?
Oh no, I think they're going to be able to make it to the end. We're talking about right about lap 33 now. We're at 35 laps to go, and they're going to come down with 34 to go. Man, it's going to be close.
But they should be able to make it. They will have the caution laps to go their way. I think that'll help them out.
Yeah, I would think it to be something like the Indy 250 from 2021, where they came down, or where they had come down about lap 61, and that was right at the threshold to make it to the end of the race. And so this is going to be one of those situations. I think they're going to be able to make it to the end, though. At least they should. At least if someone's not able to make it to the end, if they push it too hard, we may just see 1 or 2 cars come down the pit road coming to the white flag at the most, I would imagine. But here we go. Let's see how these pit stops go.
I would imagine this is going to be full of fuel and full of 4 tires here for this pit stop. I think we were obviously seeing these guys have some issues there on the racetrack, keeping the grip through the corners. And 4 fresh Goodyears will be very much welcome here on this cycle. Mardi Gras a little bit slow. And guess who?
Wow.
Salmon Oskin wins the race off the pit lane. The Sprint Series driver. Paulus Jr. there in second. Ali Yera. I think what Ali wants. I don't know what Ali wants here. I know she wants to get the win herself, but I mean, she's got her driver there leading the field. Chase Buck, Braden Perez, the top 5. Logan Williams, then Mardi Gras, 6 positions lost on the pit lane. Rogel Dorn, Matt Tuck, Fisher G, the top 10. And I would imagine everybody was on the same strategy there. A 4-tire stop full of fuel. We should be good to go to the end of this race.
This late in the run, absolutely.
Wasn't good for Fitzwater. Obviously, he had his issue earlier on. It wasn't good for Joey Hightower either, number 24. An issue for him as he got spun into the wall off the entrance of turn 4, in the turn 4 off the exit of turn 3, right in the middle there of the eastern part of the racetrack. We'll have to see what happened to the driver, number 24. Then we'll get to the restart. But let's go ahead and see what happened to Joey Hightower in the Trackhouse Racing 24 here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. We're halfway. The first points race of the season, the Wawa 400 here in the Wawa Cup Series. So this is what happened here to bring out the first caution of the night. The Wawa 400. What's going on there? Elijah Gordon getting him to Joey Hightower. And just sending him up into the outside wall. I don't know if Hightower was attempting to come down the pit lane or not. But that did not work out too well for the driver, the number 24. And Elijah Gordon went away unscathed. This was at the back of the field. They were already kind of deep in the field already. But Hightower's going to go a lap down. He's not going to be out of the race because of this. But going to fall back to the field. And his chances of winning this race or anything else have pretty much withered away with that one right there. Tough break for Hightower, but thankfully that was all that happened, and nobody else got caught up in this one here at Homestead.
So here we are heading off into the third turn. Is Gordon taking the dive on Hightower, and I honestly just think that's just going for the same real estate at the same time. Hightower trying to dive it into the corner, but Gordon trying to dive it in and make the pass on the 24, but it had a bad look to it, but I'm sure there wasn't anything malicious. They were both running at the tail end of the field, but either way, first caution of the race is out, and this definitely shakes up the racing order.
Absolutely, especially after the pit stops, because Brady Mardi Gras didn't get through that pit stall very well, and now down in the 7th position, this guy, Sprint Series driver, Salmon Oskin, leads us to the green flag. When we come back to the Wawa 400 here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway in the Wawa Cup Series 2023 season. We are back here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway to open up the season in the Wawa Cup Series 2023. It's great to be back doing cup racing. This has been an excellent race so far. It's just a sign of what's to come here in this 2023 season. But guess what? Salmon Oskin's leading. He's not even a full-time driver here. And this could be you. Sign-ups every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the Wawa Sprint Series. You get the race in the Sprint Series every Wednesday night. And the top 4 finishers in each Sprint Series race move on to the Cup race that weekend. And that is exactly what Salmon Oskin did on Wednesday night. And here he is leading the field for Rain Motorsports. Right behind him, it's Daniel Paulus Jr., Aliera, the owner of the 77, Chase Buck, and Braden Perez. The top 5 coming to the restart. Hightower is a lap down, but midway through the field, and Fitzwater 4 laps down from his issue, but everybody's still on the racetrack here as we have 31 laps to go in the Wawa 400 at Homestead.
And a great launch off the restart for Salmon Oskin. He pulls right ahead of Daniel Paulus Jr. by about 2 or 3 car lengths, but now Paulus and Liera trying to draw him back in. Liera's trying to get around that 44. I don't know whether it's going to be to defend her sprint driver or to try to take the lead away for her own. As 3 wide behind as Perez and Buck get around the 44. Holy smokes.
This has been excellent racing here tonight at Homestead. They just slide up all over the place here, and you never know when a driver is going to make that mistake of going in too deep. But look at this. Oskin leading this field in the 77. 3-time winner in the Cup Series back in season number 9, the last full-time season we did of the Cup Series, but his owner ain't gonna let him have it easy. Aliera to the inside for the race lead. Here comes Chase Buck, though, in the 32. But Liera's gonna get a bonus point towards the champion right here. She leads lap 38 of 67.
I guess we have our answer now. What would Allie do? She takes the race lead away from Salmon Oskin as Oskin now to the outside of Braden Perez. He moves into the 3rd position. Logan Williams there in the Culver's Chevrolet trying to take 4th away. This is worst case scenario now for Salmon Oskin. If he can't get down to the inside, he is in huge trouble as Chase Buck trying to run down the 5 for the race lead.
Not quite enough there for the 32 at the moment. But Chase Buck definitely looking strong here in this Pacific Racing Toyota. I know Brendan always talks about his team being bad. Well, not right now it isn't. Still got a long ways left to go here in this Wawa 400. Rogel Dorn to the inside of Logan Williams there. There's Logan Williams driving for Appalachian Motorsports and Caleb Rose. And he's the teammate to Mr. Edge, Nicholas Amadio, who, hey, don't look now. Got some strong guys coming on this inside lane. Fisher, G, Seth Cole, and, of course, the man himself, Nicholas Amadio. I'm sure he'd love to get a win here in his home racetrack here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Finished second in the Smooth Fest last weekend in New Smyrna. And I think a lot of high hopes for this team. They could very well be a threat, as both Ozkin and Daniel Paulus Jr. in the outside wall right there. I think Andrew Miller in the back there for Nathan Orman Motorsports also got in the outside wall. We've probably been seeing that a lot more than we've been picking it up here tonight. But these guys, they got to be careful not to do it too much, or otherwise they are going to fall behind. Yera holding on to the race lead ahead of Chase Buck. And then you got Braden Perez, and here comes Mardi Gras. He lost a lot of positions on the pit lane right there, but now he's back up to 4th after restarting in the 7th position. And Rogel Dorn, got to give a lot of props to him here tonight. Great run for the driver, the number 1 in Full Frontal Motorsports.
Absolutely. Oh, but he slides up mightily coming out of turn 4. That could be... Oh, Logan Williams got loose, though. I thought Logan was going to have a shot to get to the inside of Dorn. No, not after getting sideways coming out of the corner. That could be good for Tuck, though, as the 54 closes into the back end of the 95. Up front, though, it is still Yera leading the way by a comfortable margin ahead of Buck, but Perez right up to the backside of that 32, looking for that second position, which would look potentially further extend the lead of the number 5 of Ali Liera.
And Braden Perez has been another driver who has run up front quite a bit here tonight in that 23 machine. Definitely going to be a threat. Oh, he's going to get in the Chase Buck into turn 1. And he had to check it up. And here comes Mardi Gras and Dorn to the inside, looking to get around that 23. That is not how you make the pass. And this is the thing that we're seeing. These guys, they dive bomb into the corner. They get loose. And if they're trying to make a pass on somebody, that could be drastic. That might have been what we saw with Joey Hightower. Of course, as we record the race in real time, we don't know what happens in those accidents as we review the accidents after we record the race. So, a little context there for those of you who are new. My game does not like it when I try to go back, and with the ticker that you currently see, it's a lot easier to do that after the race once it's all said and done. How about Appalachian Motorsports? Nicholas Samidio in the top 10 for the first time today. To the inside of Logan Williams, his teammate there for 7th. Roberto Crown Jr., they're running well inside the top 10 as well. Matt Tuck here just outside the top 10 as Seth Cole's coming. How about this guy?
Oh, wow.
Benny Moore, who won on Wednesday night in the Wawa Sprint Series, so he knows how to win here. Granted, that was only a 17-lap race and on a 67-lapper like we're seeing tonight. But the NS Racing driver doing an excellent job right now in his second start on the channel. How about this for Benny Moore there?
This has got to be a huge confidence booster for him, not only for the Sprint Series if he stays there the rest of the season, but this, competing with the Cup boys, is here comes Buck down to the inside of Liera. A huge confidence booster, no doubt, for Benny Moore as he tries to work his way into the top 10, as he does that time through 1.56 seconds behind the lead car, Ali Liera, who is now in jeopardy of losing the lead to Chase Buck. And if they keep going side by side, well, Braden Mardi Gras has been fast all night long, as has Rogel Dorn. They're now side by side for the 3rd position for a moment. Oh, Mardi Gras will hold on to it for the time being.
I thought I saw the caution come out, but my eyes are playing tricks on me. We're still green flag racing. The green looked like yellow. Either way, watch out for this guy. Nicholas Samadio's 5th right now, top 5. Highest he has run all day. He is moving through the field very well, and Fisher G smashed the outside wall. And Perez has been falling back here in the 23 as well after he ran up front a lot. Drew Webb, another guy who was running up front earlier on, falling back. And then this is very unique thing about this racetrack as we go back up to the front. And I believe Chase Buck is trying again on Yera, but not enough. Mardi Gras there in 3rd. Rogel Dorn and Nicholas Samadio there in 5th. You gotta watch out for Mr. Edge. He always makes it exciting. I love watching this guy on the racetrack. Even though it is still all simulated, just a video game, somehow he always finds himself making the most exciting moments on this channel. Of course, the winner of the closest finish on the channel, and no one will ever break that. That Season 2, 2015 Daytona 500, where he won by absolutely nothing. That's where the Mr. Edge name kind of started.
Oh, boy.
He's going to make a good move here on Rogel Dorn there for the 4th position, and here comes Roberto Crown Jr. as well. And watch out for them in that 21 machine. Shane Lake, the owner of this team. Of course, Shane Lake won the Season 9 Cup Championship, so he knows what he's doing behind the wheel. You might know what he's doing as an owner. But here comes Seth Cole and Benny Moore as well. And Hey, don't look now. Chase Buck's teammate Thomas Troxel moving up through the field here in the 62. Highest we've seen Troxel all night there for Pacific Racing. I just love this racing. This slide job, we're slide jobbing all over the place here. Making Dale Jr. proud here tonight.
Absolutely. There's the 96 of Benny Moore trying to get to the inside of Rogel Dorn. Rogel Dorn trying to stay within arm's reach of the top 5. As the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr. now tries to chase down Mr. Edge, who got the championship done here at this very racetrack back in August in the Trinity River Cup Series, and went to victory lane last weekend at New Smyrna Speedway in the Trinity River Cup Series to kick off his championship defense in race number 2. But here is Chase Buck down to the inside of Liera. Could have the race lead this time, maybe. Liera works it on the outside. I'll tell you, Buck is making those moves way too early, heading off into the turn, and this time it's going to cost him.
Yeah, that just didn't work out for him, and Brady Mardi Gras is going to have an advantage, but this may open the door for San Mateo. 59 might be able to get that inside lane to go his way. I think Mardi Gras, he might get it here, but Chase Buck has a good run on that outside lane. And we're closing in on the 2 guys who are a lap down or more. Zachary Fitzwater and 9. Obviously an issue on the 9 machine. He's way off the pace, and then Joey Hightower obviously caught up in that accident earlier on. Liera's done an excellent job keeping this race lead ahead of Chase Buck. Got to give props to her there, and Dracona Racing Enterprises, a really fast machine there. Looking for a 3rd career win on the channel. Of course, won the Thanksgiving 500. Here we go, 3 wide for 2nd. And Nicholas Samadillo to the inside for Appalachia Motorsports. And that was a very good move there. Waited for Mardi Gras to really get it on Chase Buck, but that slowed the 73 down, and Samadillo went ahead and took it. Rogel Dorn with a good move here as well. He's been up front for a long time coming right now, and he's going to be a threat here. Seth Cole, Benny Moore in the middle of all this. A lot of new faces as Chase Buck really lost a lot of ground there. He used up his stuff trying to get around that 5 machine, and now he's falling back in that 32.
Definitely does appear to be the case. He slips onto the outside lane, but we're going to have 12 laps to go when we come through this next time, so he could find a way to march his way back up into the top 10, but he's going to have to really manhandle that 32 car. As here's Rogel Dorn down to the inside of Nicholas Samadillo, doing look like what he was trying to do a couple of laps ago. Thought better of it, pulled back in line behind the 59, and now he is far ahead of the 59 and looking to chase down the 5 of Liera, as now we're about to run into lap traffic. There's the 9 of Fitzwater just ahead of them.
This is going to get really, really interesting here soon. How about Seth Cole here moving up? Sebastian Kukulon for Hergel Motorsports.
How about this?
Turkey Hill Truck Series champion. Keep that in mind. He won that championship on ratings, and this is a rating series, so I'd watch out for him as this season goes along. He's in the top 5 right there. Sam Mayo trying to get back to the inside of Rogel Dorn for 2nd, but Liera has been out front. No one's been able to get around her since she's taken the race lead just after the restart. And she's going to have it easy getting around Fitzwater. These 2 guys may not have it as easy. Sam Mayo going to get around the 1 machine. Maybe a little bit of veteran courtesy right here between Fitzwater and Sam Mayo, the 2 all-time winningest drivers on the channel. Or 2 of the all-time winningest drivers on the channel. I think Jesse Turner may still be ahead of Sam Mateo, but Turner not racing this season, so Sam Mateo, a great opportunity to surpass him, especially right here tonight, as he is currently 2nd here. Lap 58 of 67, 10 laps to go in the Wawa 400. And Seth Cole up here, now in the 3rd position.
Oh, this is exactly what they needed. Liera ran into the lap traffic. Looked like she got around Fitzwater pretty easy, but Samadillo and Seth Cole were able to as well, and now they're trying to draft up to the 5 as we come to 9 laps to go. They've still got the 24 of Joey Hightower ahead of them, who was involved in an incident earlier on, and a big slip by Liera. Here comes Mr. Edge.
Nicholas Samadillo trying to put it to Liera in the 5, but she's going to put the block on him, I should say. These are 2 Thanksgiving 500 champions, by the way, battling it out here for this win in the first race of the Wawa Cup Series. And I think they're 2 of the best we have out here on the racetrack. But Seth Cole coming here, and you got Kukulon and Rogel Dorn and Trey Wright. How about your team? Trinity River Racing. They're doing an excellent job right now. Seth Cole is 3rd, Trey Wright is 6th. We'll have to see. Everyone's running out of time to get around this 5 machine, but Nicholas Samadillo may just be the driver to do it. Going to be 7 laps to go next time by here in the Wawa 400 at Homestead-Miami Speedway. What a race we have had to open up this season. And ladies and gentlemen, we're just getting started with the season. Got a lot of great stuff coming up here in the Wawa Cup Series.
Absolutely. There's Wright making a move to the inside of the 52 of Kukulon for the 5th position. And, hello, I don't think we've talked about this guy at all. 51, Justin Zidell, right to the inside of Roberto Crown Jr. We haven't talked about him all night. Here he is running up to the top 10.
Here, who almost won the first ever race we ever ran on the channel. Came to the white flag in that first ever Daytona 500. He'd love to get the first ever official win in the Wawa Cup Series. But Yera's done such an excellent job just maintaining her pace and staying out front. And I'm impressed with what she's been able to do here. Because ever since she took the race lead just after the restart, midway through the race, she has held on. San Mateo, little loose off the corner, and Seth Cole looking to take second. Oh, San Mateo really off the pace there. He really had some issues. Rogel Dorn looking to take third. Is there an issue on this 59 machine?
No, I think he just got a little loose going in there, and it slowed up his momentum. We talked about momentum earlier, and he slips from 2nd to 4th. Trey Wright there into the 5th position around Chase Buck, and Justin Zidell now crosses to the inside of that 32, and Dorn trying to get to the inside of the 82. And meanwhile, Aliera says, guys, keep it up.
She's pulling away. You got to be careful here. Rogel Dorn has done an excellent job keeping inside the top 5 nearly this entire night. He's up to 2nd. It's far from over. It's 4 laps to go here in the Wawa 400. We are at the point of no return. If we get a caution, the race will end. We do not do overtime here in the Wawa Cup Series. We're a bit old-fashioned over here on this channel, and I like it that way. Rogel Dorn, he's going to like it if he can get around this 5, but nobody has been able to surpass the 5 of Aliera all night long since she's taken the race lead. We'll just have to see. The tires are very worn at this point. These guys have pushed it to the edge. Will they have enough stuff to have a shot for this race win at Homestead?
They're going to dive it into turn 1 and 2. Rogel Dorn's trying to use the draft on the outside. San Mateo trying to swirl him up a little bit. He's going to try to take a look, headed off into that 3rd turn, but they're close enough where I don't know if San Mateo... He wants Dorn to make the move on Liera right now because he might have a chance to get around the 1 because that could slow Rogel Dorn up if he gets down to the inside of the 5. But it's 5 cars now in this mix with 2 laps to go at Homestead.
Justin Zidell and Seth Colwright on this as well. And you may be noticing these guys going really low off the exit of turn number 4. Here comes San Mateo for 2nd, and Seth Cole might make it 3 wide, but they're right on the back bumper of Yera now. Realistically, any of these 5 guys can get this win. Oh, San Mateo.
Big flip.
Trying to get this inside lane to work. Will he be able to do it? We'll have to see. White flag in the Wawa 400 at Homestead for Aliera in the number 5. She's led the most laps so far here tonight. Will she lead the most important one? San Mateo's got to hold this inside lane to his advantage. Seth Cole right there trying to take 2nd away. He may have a shot. I just don't know if he's close enough to make it work. Yera might make a mistake into the corner. She's going a little wide. San Mateo's coming. A good push on that middle lane, but it's not going to be enough. Her 3rd career win on the channel. Aliera wins the Wawa 400 here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway.
What a race
as well.
Absolutely. What a drive by Aliera. Nicholas San Mateo, Seth Cole, Justin Zidell, Rogel Dorn threw everything but the kitchen sink at her. But it was not enough, and Aliera takes home the victory. What a way to start the season. What a race.
That is what NR Offline should be. That was fun. Aliera held onto it for nearly 30 laps. And the way they were pressuring her for the race lead that entire run, it's kind of surprising that she was able to do so. But a lot of experience behind the wheel at number 5, and a lot of experience behind the wheel of the 59 as well. Bridesmaid again. He finished runner-up in the Smooth Fest last week, and he finishes runner-up here in the first points-paying race of the season. But Aliera gets the job done in the Wawa 400 at the Homestead-Miami Speedway for Dracoan Racing Enterprises and Owen Miles. Yes, that was how you start off a season correctly. And now we're leading into the biggest race of the season, the Daytona 500. And aren't you excited for that? Next Sunday, February 19th, the same day as the real-life Daytona 500, but when the Daytona 500 should, in fact, be done in real life at noon Eastern Time, right here on AG, the channel. So one of two Sunday races we'll be doing, the Daytona 500 and the finale on Labor Day weekend, the Southern 500. Excited for that next weekend. But my goodness, Josh, what a race this was. And how about Oliveira? I'm genuinely surprised that a driver was able to stay out front that entire time. And she's going to get maximum points here tonight as well, which is great for the championship. Still 19 races to go in that. But what do you got to say to that team? They gave her a great car and a great driver behind the wheel. And how do you think that's going to translate throughout the rest of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series?
Well, Owen Miles is a heck of a car owner. He leads the way in the owner standings in the Trinity River Cup Series after 2 races before we head into the Daytona Road Course weekend. But Oliveira putting the entire field on notice. Whether it had to do with that cycle at about halfway when the caution came out or not, I guarantee you they made some adjustments. But goodness sakes, she seemed unstoppable as this race went along, so definitely putting the field on notice, as are, I would say, this entire top 5 here, though things did get a little topsy-turvy after the second cycle happened, but man, those adjustments that came in, this was a much different top 20 at the start of the race than it was at the tail end of it. My goodness.
Yeah, that cycle of pit stops, it got overlooked there, but I think a lot happened under that cycle, and I think you see a lot more veteran experience up towards the front than what we initially started off with, which is interesting because, the ratings are still kind of early on in the stage. I'm not disclosing anything in terms of that, but pretty much everyone was kind of on equal footing for this race for the most part. There was some slight differentiation, I should say, between the cars and the drivers for this one, but somehow, some way, the veterans kind of showed their strength. Got to give a huge shout out to Rogel Dorn, though, and I'm going to say this right now. Hairgel made a power ranking at the beginning of the season and put Rogel Dorn dead last. That was a mistake, and I think Rogel Dorn may be one of the strongest rookies that we're going to have this season here in the Wawa Cup Series. Christian Master up there. As a matter of fact, Rogel Dorn, the only true rookie who finished top 10. We have 7 true rookies that are, full-time here in the Wawa Cup Series, and he was the only one of those 10, or only one of those 7, I should say, that finished top 10 in this race. But go through the rest of the starting lineup, or rest of the finishing results again. Joey Hightower finished 2 laps down there. Obviously, we had his issue, and then Zachary Fitzwater with his issue. Finishing dead last, not exactly what Fitzy wanted at the beginning of the season there in the number 9, but final thoughts on this race, and looking forward to the Daytona 500 next weekend. That is going to be a lot of fun. Obviously a crown jewel event in the season, a crown jewel race on the channel. It's that, the Indy 250 and the Thanksgiving 500, the races you want to win. The guy who finished second in this race has won all 3 of them, but how do you think that race is going to play out? Knowing that aggression is not ramped up as it has been in the past, it's going to be a lot more of a race than a wreck fest, and there will be pit stops in that Daytona 500 next Sunday.
It is definitely going to be an interesting dynamic than what we've seen in the past from Daytona 500s. In the past Daytona 500s, I don't really know that we had pit stops in any of them. So it's going to be different just for that, if for nothing else. It's still early on, with the ratings not quite coming to form. I think about halfway we're really going to see those ratings really start to come into play, but they did a little bit tonight, I would say, but not as much as it's going to be later on in Daytona next week. I don't know. We'll have to see. I just want to wait to see what happens. I don't want to say anything too early about the ratings because it could make things especially important before we get to the Super Speedway race next weekend. But right now, it is Oliveira celebrating with the champagne in victory lane. I cannot wait for the rest of this season. These final 29 races, I'm so ecstatic for how this is going to go.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of work has been put into this, and I'm very, very glad it turned out the way it did here tonight at Homestead. Very great race. Had a great race last week, and hopefully we keep that momentum up next weekend with the Daytona 500. Of course, a reminder to all you full-time drivers out there, fill in your ratings. It goes up every Monday, or I may do it a little bit earlier just so you guys have to do it on the weekend, but it ends on Wednesday. So you have to get your ratings in by Wednesday, and they are cumulative. So you want to make sure you fill out that form every single week if you want to run well. You don't fill it out just once. You fill it out every single week to add on to your ratings, and it's going to be fascinating to see how that comes into effect. And if you're a driver or someone who is not full-time in this series and you want to be part of the action, every Wednesday night we have signups for the Wawa Sprint Series, which is the complimentary series to the Wawa Cup Series. That's every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the next week's race. And of course, every Wednesday night at 7, it's the Wawa Sprint Series race. So Sprint Series night in America every Wednesday night right here on AG the channel. Hope you stick around for that as well. We'll be at Daytona next weekend, next Sunday, February 19th at noon Eastern Time, right here on AG the channel. Hope you stick around for that one. It's going to be a blast, and been a blast here tonight. Going to have a blast all season here in the Wawa Cup Series. Congratulations to Aliera for getting the race victory here in the Wawa 400. And here are the point standings for the Wawa Cup Series after the first race of the season. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. A huge thanks to Josh Williamson for joining me alongside here tonight. We'll see you guys next Sunday, noon Eastern Time, for the Daytona 500. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you guys later.